Welcome back to another episode of Verdicts and Victories, where we look at behind the scenes, behind the curtain of what's happening in personal injury law. Car wrecks are exactly what we do. We do catastrophic and death cases that arise out of a really, really bad car collision. I want to tell you a story about a great family that we got to represent not too far from our home office. We exist in Norcross, Georgia, in Gwinnett County, Peachtree Corners, and we got a call about a year ago of a man that was riding on his beautiful motorcycle that he had just had customized, loved to ride, a very experienced rider, was coming down 141, which is a local highway here in Gwinnett County and Peachtree Corners. He was driving safely, he was driving the speed limit, he was looking out for his surroundings, and his focus was ahead of him. As he went through an intersection, an oncoming car that was taking a left into a target failed to yield, had that yellow flashing light, failed to yield, and struck our client who was on his motorcycle and ejected him from his bike 15 to 20 feet away from his bike. Horrible incident. Thankfully he was wearing his helmet, but his helmet flew off in the course of it. He was knocked out. He had multiple fractures. Thankfully first responders were quickly on the scene, gave him the medical attention that he needed, and he was absolutely just in a world of hurt and pain, and frankly at some point we thought he might have expired. But he was really lucky and blessed to have great treatment, quick treatment, and he survived the crash. So we get a call from a local lawyer that knew this family, that was not far from our office, that does not do personal injury, and said to that family, I have the lawyer for you. You need to call Brandon Smith, which is a huge honor and blessing anytime we get a call like that, and that type of recognition is frankly the highest compliment that a lawyer can get in the community. We take the case, we investigate it, we get all the insurance that exists in the case, and ultimately to make sure that we had all the insurance, we ultimately filed suit, issued discovery, which is basically written questions where we get all the information about the insurance profile, about the backgrounds of each individual, and make sure that we have the total amount of recovery that is listed and ultimately sworn to. So we got into it, and we got very grateful and very lucky because the liability carrier, which is the at-fault party's insurance company, had $100,000. That was nowhere near enough to satisfy the damages that were at stake in this case. Multiple fractures, EMS, several days in the hospital, long recovery. $100,000 would not do it. But we got them to put down their $100,000 relatively soon, and then later as we went on and progressed into the case, we learned something that was really fortunate. Our client had purchased what's called underinsured motorist coverage, and he had done so literally 2 weeks before this incident happened. He had already had state minimum limits of underinsured motorist coverage at $25,000, and he had upped that in his insurance to $500,000. That type of insurance was added on to the underlying recovery. So as we progressed in the case, built it up, and showed not only that the facts that gave rise to it made the at-fault party perfectly at fault, we went to his own insurance, which a lot of people say, why would you go to my insurance? You go to their insurance because they're the ones in the situation just like this, where there's not enough insurance for the at-fault party. They can also pony up, if you will, and add more insurance that you've purchased through your policy. So just a quick side note is I encourage all my clients to get as much insurance as you can afford for situations just like this. So after we got through all the discovery and we understood all the insurance that was at stake, we issued a demand for that $500,000 and ultimately was able to recover $600,000, $100,000 for the liability, and $500,000 for our client with his insurance. It's a great family. I loved getting to know them. I hated having to meet them under these circumstances, but I'm glad that our paths crossed through this other lawyer that knew of us, sent us the case so we could get to work on it. He's doing much better now. He's a fighter. He's tough as nails. Is back, hopefully back on a bike very soon. But these are the type of cases that we love to handle because we're good at it and we feel blessed and called to do it. And we're thankful for that result that we got in that motorcycle wreck case.